Good evening. Happy Halloween. This is the first episode of Diamond and Stone. I'm your host, Bobby C., a.k.a. The Stone, along with my co-host, the one and only, Diamond Lewis. We're in beautiful downtown Cocoa Village. It is going to be the home of our new podcast. We're at His and Her Cigars. Just opened up. It is the coolest, smoothest new cigar lounge there is in Brevard County. We're going to get to all of that in a minute. Before we go any further, let me introduce my co-host, the Diamond, to you. Let him tell you a little bit about his new establishment. It's owned by himself and his beautiful wife, Carmen. And I'll let him explain. Go ahead, take it up.
Well, we're in the beautiful Cocoa Village area. And of course, we got some people coming in, joining us in the podcast. We just opened now on October 5th, and everything that you see in here, all the nice touches, all the beautiful things that you see in here is all courtesy of my wife. She designed everything.
And a beautiful job
Yep,
she did.
she did extremely well. So she just with me, and I was working. But outside of that, I think the lounge came out beautiful. We'll give everybody a tour. We also have our walk-in humidor. We do some hand-rolled cigars on site. We mostly deal with Nicaraguan tobacco, a little bit of Dominican tobacco, and you can pick up your His and Her cigars right here, hand-rolled on site. Actually, we're the only lounge in the Space Coast that you can walk in and ask for a fresh hand-roll, and we'll roll them right there for you.
You absolutely are.
Yes.
My favorite, even though he carries great variety of smokes, my favorite are his hand rolls. He made some especially for us tonight. It is absolutely incredible. Smooth, even though it's a medium body.
Yep.
Has some great finishes, very natural finish. Little leathery, getting some good spice out of it. He has a secret ingredient in it. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you all what it is. Although it is one of my favorites, and I have to admit that one of my favorite things to do when I'm in here hanging out with Lewis is buying their cigars. I mean, they're my favorite. Their hand rolls are absolutely my favorite. When did you learn how to, I should say, let me backtrack a bit.
Yes.
Your mentor in this whole cigar industry. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into it?
So I've been smoking cigars as long as I've been in radio, since 1996. I really got into the history and the culture of tobacco. So I was always very interested in it. My wife's been into the tobacco industry for a very long time. Actually, she was introduced to the cigar world by her grandfather. So she's got a great story with that, and we'll bring her on and she could talk about that. When we decided to do this more as a business, oddly enough, we learned how to roll. Originally, we learned how to roll off of, you kids are not going to understand what I'm about to say, off of VHS. There was a VHS with rolling techniques on it. Then I got a DVD, a little bit of YouTube here and there. But we ended up meeting a great Cuban master roller. His name is Hessler. And phenomenal. We've become like family. And he took his time and really helped us hone our craft. And we launched our business up in Pennsylvania. And then in some of our events, we ended up crossing paths with Francisco Almonte, the owner and master blender of DBL Cigars from the Dominican Republic. And Dominican Big Leaguer, if you are going to look it up. But it's DBL by Francisco Almonte. And then we learned how to roll the Dominican way. He told us, forget what you learned. You don't know nothing. You're going to learn the real way. And we learned with him the Dominican way. We actually went to his shop in Red Bank, and he took his time with us. He was very patient, an incredible teacher, and we learned with him as well. And now we mix the both techniques. We enjoy rolling more the Cuban way, because the original way that we learned how to roll. But once in a while we'll do the Dominican way. Actually, the cigar that you're smoking tonight is Dominican longleaf tobacco with a nice Habano wrapper. Did a little bit something special for Bobby.
Yes.
And and that one is rolled the Dominican way. So it's a little bit more hand bunch than the other way than the Cuban way do it. So that's why you get a little bit of that leather taste and some earthy tones, a little bit of the cocoa,
Yes,
and of
excellent.
course Bobby likes the basin, so I had to do something special for the band for him.
Yes, you did.
So
I mean, and when you look at them, you first off, you can't tell the difference. But I'm not saying this because we're now familiar, but it puts the bass to shame. So sorry, apologize, but it absolutely does. And if any of y'all are into the basin and you get an opportunity to come down here just to say hello to Lewis and say hello to me when I'm in and out, ask Lewis to hand roll you one of these, and I can guarantee the basin only comes out once every 3 year type deal. You can get these anytime you want.
That's right.
And they put them to shame. Again, I don't mean to piss off anybody in the industry. I'm just being, from my palate, I'm being 100% honest with you on that. You and Carmen used to do events too, right?
Yes.
Like large corporate events and
So-
events and
we still do. When we were up in Pennsylvania, our company was more a mobile lounge. So we would set up at events, either corporate or private events, a lot of golf tournaments, wineries, distilleries. We would bring and set up a tent, 10 by 20 or 10 by 30. And actually, whenever you guys come to the lounge, most of the seats that you see here have made it to an event. So we would set up an actual lounge, put a nice carpet, cover the area very nice. You wouldn't sit on the grass or on the dirt. Then we would bring out our rolling table, some of the cigars that we have hand rolled, put the velvet ropes. Carmen do amazing putting up the chandeliers and some curtains and everything, and just make it look like an actual lounge. Just it would be in the middle of a golf course or at a winery, a distillery. And we still do those type of events. So if you ever need hand rollers for your wedding, private events, divorce tournament, whatever it is, just call us up.
I'd spend a fortune on that. I've been married 4 times. It cost me a fucking fortune to have you down. You'd be rolling for the next 3 years. So let me give a disclaimer that we are going to be raw. We're going to say what we want to say. We're going to say what's on our mind. My filter may be broken, or I may not have one.
Exactly.
Diamond will grab me into place every once in a while. Some of my background, for some of you who've seen some of the podcasts before, my Gangster and Cigar podcast and my full investigative podcast, which is Southern Discomfort. I'm a retired investigator, retired cop, 32 years, primarily organized crime. I look Latino. I spent a lot of time in Miami working, even though I'm a stone cold Guinea. So I'll be talking about the Italian mafia. I'll be talking about my family, the dark side of my family as well. I don't have a problem getting into that at all. We'll be breaking balls because even though the Latin culture and the Italian culture is so much alike,
Yep.
It's so much different as well. So I'm pretty sure we'll get into a nice banter here and there. That being said, it's Halloween. So we were talking to some of the regulars that come in here. It's like, what are you going to talk about tonight? Are you going to talk about a case, talk about a case or two? And we will be talking about some of my cases as time go on. But Halloween, one of the most bizarre cases, and not a gruesome case at all. We'll talk about the gruesome. One of the most bizarre cases was, as being assigned in homicide, was in homicide my first few years, and I get called in to the sheriff's office.
Okay.
And the sheriff goes, Caruso, I need you to go over to this funeral home. I won't mention the name. It was an all-black funeral home. And you need to take custody of the body of a 10-year-old boy. And I'm like, you want me to go in there and take custody during services? Now, for some of you, when we talk about cultures, the black culture, much like the Latin Italian culture, funerals are a shit show. It's just the way it is. And especially now we're talking about a 10-year-old. So I march my happy ass into the funeral parlor. I speak to the director, who I know. I said, I'm going to have to close down the service, and I'm going to have to take possession of the body. The body's going to be sent to the ME's office. Well, I can tell you that it didn't go over quite well. A lot of screaming, a lot of crying, a lot of cursing. Now let me tell you why I was sent there. Sheriff calls me and he said, I'm going to send you personally because this case has your name on it. I'm like, okay, so tell me about it. So the sheriff's department received a letter from Haiti that the child was killed under voodoo pretenses. All I know, in Italian, we call it the Maloica. I don't know nothing about voodoo.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I don't know shit about voodoo, but apparently, and I'll tell you how this whole thing goes. I'm like, okay. I go in there, we take possession of the body gets sent to the ME's office. I start doing research and find that there's a doctor in the Miami Children's Hospital who also is an expert in Santeria and voodoo. Pick up the phone. I said, can I meet you? I have no idea what the hell I'm dealing with. So he tells me to take the original death certificate and the ME's report with me. I'm like, will do. I go down there. He's a Haitian doctor, young guy. We start talking, and I said, yeah, just hold my hand because I have no clue. He said, well, here's what happened. So the kid died of asphyxiation. So they thought that he died, that he respirated and died. So this is the ME who writes that. So I tell him, this is what it is. Doctor goes, send the body down to Miami. We send the body down to Miami to him, and he's going to be present during this interview, during the autopsy. So I'm watching the autopsy. He's pointing some things out. Then we go in his office. He goes, this is what the child died from. I said, okay. Caustic poisoning. I said, okay. How? He said it's called pantano powder. So pantano powder is a combination of natural ingredients, one being from the blowfish.
Oh.
So there's an old movie called Serpent in the Rainbow. Old movie. And in there, or some of the, if you're watching a zombie movie, you'll see like the voodoo priestess and blow powder in your face. It's the same shit. So it used to put you in a catatonic state and stop your heart, but you would come back. Thus the term zombie.
Yep.
But because the kid was a baby, 10 years old, and ingested so much, shut down his respiratory system, and he died. Now, the story goes, his Gomara, his girlfriend, the guy's girlfriend, was a voodoo priestess in Haiti. He moves to the United States with his son and someone else. She gets pissed. She sends the pantano powder in the mail to one of her family members. Family member gets to the child, and it's done. Now, the end of the story blows because can't make an arrest.
Right.
Can't arrest somebody in Haiti. But it was like the weirdest of the cases. Been on many serial killers. I'll talk about one pretty quick with you. But, to say that you actually handled a voodoo homicide. So props go out to a very good friend of mine. And her name is Mary Milan. Mary is the voodoo priestess of New Orleans. Born and raised in New Orleans. She's also the leading historian on the Italian mafia in New Orleans. She's just amazing. She's an extremely good friend of mine. And the first time I meet her, I tell her the story. And, naturally she starts going through everything. She's also a swamp priestess, which I don't know what that is. Anyway, she owns a haunted museum in New Orleans, and she's in the middle. She's been in History Channel, Travel Channel. She's been on Netflix. She's an accomplished author as well. And inside this home that she bought, and she actually, she lives in Marie Laveau's. Oh, actually, I'm lying to you. Her office is in Marie Laveau's old apartment. So Marie Laveau, as we all know, is the most famous of the voodoo priestess And the other thing that I didn't know that a lot of people don't know is she was actually held in the highest esteem with the Catholic Church in
Was
New
she really?
Orleans. Absolutely. They built her mausoleum for her. The Catholic
Wow.
Church did. She's buried in a Catholic cemetery, which is a real contradiction
Yes.
if you look at things, right?
Exactly.
But she was just very well held in high regard. Getting back to Mary. So upstairs in Mary's building that she owns is an apartment. I'm not going to speak about it too much because she has a special coming out here soon, which I am lucky enough to be one of her hosts on this special. I promised her I wouldn't get into it, other than it is an incredible story, and it includes 2 cooking pots and Barty pots. So that's all I'm going to say. We'll wait for her special to come out. And Mary, I miss you. I know you're really busy tonight. She's doing some seances and stuff for Halloween. I miss you, but it's just a great shout out to you. You know I love you.
We need a recipe so Bobby could grow a little bit.
Yes, I do. That and hair. She every time I go see her, I'm hoping she's gonna rub my head or do something, throw chicken foot on me or something. But nothing. I don't know what it is.
Striking out.
Yeah, I struck out. Even pray to I Chung and the rest of them, and nothing, not at all. So my show, Southern Discomfort, as I had mentioned before, in Port St. Lucie
Yes.
is a location. It's in a public park, like a county park, open to the public 24 hours. 1972, a sheriff's deputy goes and commits some of the most heinous serial killing in Florida. What he did was he would take his victims out to the tree, thus the devil tree. He'd take them out, he would hang them, and put them on the roots of the tree until they slid off and hung themselves. Then he would cut their body parts. When he was done cutting their body parts, he would bury them in 1.5 feet of dirt. Why? Because it was easy to come back and then have sex with the remains.
Oh.
Now, while he's on duty, he picks up these 2 girls, brings them out in the wooded area, ties them up, and gets a call for service. So his police radio goes off. He gets a call for service. He goes, I got to get the hell out of here. He leaves. Now he knows he fucked up because he left these 2 girls. He goes and sees the chief of police at the time and tells him, I picked up these 2 girls. I think, I overstepped my boundaries. I wanted to show them that hitchhiking in these days, this is what can happen to you. The girls escape. The only 2 of his victims to have escaped. Gets arrested, goes to jail. It's right before the holidays, 1972, beginning of middle of November. He didn't want to spend Christmas and New Year's in jail. So he makes a plea to the judge. The judge goes, no problem. Your trial's going to start. As he's out on bail, he murders 2 more girls at the same location. Now, the location is frequented by Satanists and paranormalists, and they go out there with their spirit boxes, and there's all kinds of articles on it and shit. Unfortunately, they're all going to the wrong location. So we went back and uncovered the actual reports from the police, magazine articles, paper articles, and discovered that the tree is a banyan tree, not a live oak. Banyan trees are not native to Florida.
Okay.
It's the only banyan tree in this whole entire forest. We even located the machete marks on some of the roots that he had cut his victims up on. So we go out and we dispel the whole thing and debunk that this whole big Satan tree. We said, if you guys are out here trying to commune or make contact with Satan or trying to make contact with the paranormal, you're at the wrong spot.
You dialed the wrong number.
Yeah. So, we've gotten some stuff back and messages back, and As a matter of fact, if anybody is familiar with Ghost Adventures, Zach, I can't remember Zach's last name. So Zach hit us up and actually put our podcast on his show. So if you go online, it's on there debunking the tree. He's interested in coming. Zach Bagans. Sorry, Zach. So he's interested in coming down possibly and us doing something together. So another bizarre, case, just his whole MO. And he did other things that were graphic that he used to like to watch his victims urinate and defecate. And then he would cover his body in the fluids from these, poor dead females. And as you walk through and you're going into the forest, I make a comment to my partner Bob, and I say to him, I go, "Where's Steven?" And Bob turned to me and he goes, "Who's Steven?" I said, "Well, I'm waiting for Stephen King to come out of the woods because this place is friggin', it's spooky walking through here. All over ground moss, and there's no air when you're going into the woods, so it's almost like the air gets taken away because there's no breeze, no nothing. So you can only imagine.
Did you feel any type of energy or anything?
No. Have in the past, we'll talk about some of that, but no. The only thing I felt was, when am I going to stop getting eaten by the mosquitoes? The mosquitoes would actually lift you and take you out. And I had a cigar in my hand. I know I shouldn't have been walking through a forest with a cigar, but it was keeping the mosquitoes away. But you do feel that foreboding. If you talk about feeling, you feel that foreboding feeling because you already know what occurred in there.
Mm-hmm.
So you try to get your mindset on exactly what these poor victims felt. So he racked up 28 victims.
Wow.
Gets sentenced in Stark. So he's in a meet who we used to call Old Starky. Old Sparky, who is the electric chair, right?
Okay.
Up in Stark prison.
Yep.
He's in there on death row. Next to him is Ted Bundy. So he used to screw around with Ted Bundy all the time and tell him, I got more kills than you do, and you killed like
he was bragging?
Yes, you killed like a pussy. I've got the numbers. I'm going to be more famous than you. And which is funny is this guy is not known. Schaefer, no, he's not. It's not a well-known serial killer. Bundy, as the other hand, as we all know, is right. He used to go back and forth. So he's in the mess hall. He takes an extra muffin or something, and this inmate gives him his due. He stabs him multiple times and digs out his eyeballs, pops them out, and he's finito, immorto. He's done. He's gone. That was the end. He never made it to Sparky. Another inmate killed him. But it's a bizarre case, and a case that's really not well known. Unfortunately, and we'll get into it later and stuff. Unfortunately, Florida is known for our serial killers.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's a transient state, which means that we have people from all over coming into the state, doing what they have to do. A lot of them end up. One of the cases that down the road we'll speak about is it's a very well-known case is the Gainesville murders, which happened not too long ago. I was on the task force. I was picked by Florida Department of Law Enforcement to be on a task force of seasoned homicide investigators to go up there. And this guy went in. He was a loner. He was homeless. He lived in the woods. And the things that he's done to his victims were absolutely insane. It was right off of Gainesville University of Florida campus. I could tell you, I'll just mention one incident, and then down the road, again, it's Halloween, everybody wants to get spooked. So as you entered one of the apartments, it was a football player, played for UF, and his girlfriend. Went in there, he murdered them both. But as you enter the apartment, there's a shelf, and on the shelf, she had knickknacks. He had decapitated them both, with their heads on the shelf, with a mirror in the middle, so if you opened up the front door, they're looking at you. So that was the first thing that the investigators seen when we made entry. If you want to talk about, bizarre and evil, and it is Halloween, and not to speak about religion, and I'll ask you in a second. So people sometimes will ask, are you a religious guy? And even though most of us Italians and Latins are born and raised Catholic, and you move away from that, but I have um, religion, very strong in my religion, and people go, well, how do you know that there's a higher power? How do you know there's a God or whatever? And I said, look, if you've ever stared pure evil in the face, and I have on numerous occasions, if you stared at pure evil, then you have to know there's a light. And you can call it whatever you want to call it, or whoever you want to pray to, but there has to be almost like that yin and yang. But that's my best way that I can say that I absolutely know there's something else. Correct. Because I know what pure evil looks like.
Now, do you find in these cases with the serial killers, they have a lot of similarities, way of thinking, way of acting?
So most do. I mean, and a lot.
There's a lot of profiling. For
Yes.
those of us that watch mostly movies and TVs, they're loners, quiet to themselves.
It's an outcast. They have some type of sexual deviance. Now, most serial killers, when you're doing and you're trying to do a preliminary profile, is they're comfortable in the area that they kill, so they know the area. So regardless of either they live in that area or they frequent the area wherever of the killings go to, they're very, very familiar, because then they become very comfortable. The case I just said to in University of Florida, the case out here in Port St. Lucie, always to a mile or so, or if it's off a deserted highway, they're very familiar with their surroundings and their community. It absolutely becomes home to them, and they have to feed the beast. So yes, there's a lot of similarities. You can look at a lot of the homicides, and there's not too many female serial killers, although there was some in the 1800s. Then it brings us to the most famous one in Florida, Elaine Wuornos, who was out of Daytona. She used to pick up Johns. She was a prostitute. She used to murder the people who picked her up. Very comfortable. She hung out in one bar. That's the Last Resort Bar down in Port Orange off of US 1 on the border of Daytona. She lived in Holly Hill, which is right up the street. She also lived in a storage unit. So yes, that was her territory. And she went on a killing spree. And naturally, what her defense was that these Johns that she was picking up were going to cause her harm. So she killed every single one of them. She actually killed a retired cop as well.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, her rant, and right before the execution, her last words was she was waiting for the mothership to land to take her to, I don't have a clue, but apparently she was going to another planet. But again, yes, if you want to look at the serial killers, you could see, you can actually, I hate to say this, some of my detective and investigative friends may disagree, but you can see things in children as they're getting older, being, sociopathic or psychopathic. Yeah. But when a child starts to hurt and harm animals,
should be a sign.
It's that, yes. You may want to take him for some help, or her for some help. I don't want to say him anymore, because there are prevalent female serial killers as well. But yes,
I think they're called wives.
They're called wives.
That's
yes.
right. Yeah.
That's why I don't sleep with a pillow. So, guys, don't sleep with a pillow because it may end up over your face at night. I'm just saying, not that I've ever handled anything like
And we're
that.
just
But
kidding. They're called ex-wives.
yes, they are, and they're exes for a
Yeah.
reason. Thank you. Yes, but it is what it is. It's society, and that's why we find places like His and Her Cigar Lounge
That's right.
to come and chill. And then Diamond had mentioned before, and he spoke about mentioned the word family, and I will be honest, I've been in a lot of places before, and coming in here, you actually feel like part of the family. They're very welcoming, very outgoing. It gives you that, hey, if you're stressed, come in, get a cigar, sit down. Um, Lou is Sakama going to make you laugh anyway. You'll feel right at home. Don't ask to put the Yankee game on. We had a bad problem with that the other night.
That's all right. You already cried. It's okay.
We already cried.
That's all right.
Done. It's over with. So maybe, I don't know. Another, how many years was it since the last?
I don't know. We're blaming Bobby because he brought a Don Mattingly jersey, and
I
think
did. I
he
brought
put
a
the bad
jersey
juju.
to a good friend of ours, by the way. So to segue real quick. So we have a friend Lou that comes in all the time.
Yes.
Great guy, and he is probably one of the coolest artists I've ever seen. And all his artwork is done with cigar bands. I've
Yes.
never seen it before. I was fortunate enough, along with Lou, to get some of Lou's artwork. If I could just show you one.
Which, by the way, this is not going to do justice to the artwork.
It won't. You're not going to really be able to see it. There's more around. We'll show you. But if you could see, that's every single thing on here is a cigar band.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane the way he did this. It's called Americana. It's absolutely beautiful. So Lou happens to be here sitting with us tonight. Don't let that shock you because Lou's always ass is planted on one of the chairs here. So it's not like he's, coming here special for us. Lou, if somebody wanted to find your artwork, where would they find it?
Let's bring him on.
Come on, Lou.
No, he doesn't.
No, he's got a black
He's
eye.
got a shiner.
And he's wearing a Yankee jersey.
And he's wearing a Yankee jersey.
So, anyway.
Which he's masochist.
Yeah, that's right. It says Judge on his jersey because he got his ass kicked. So, it's a great Halloween costume, by the way.
It really is.
So, anyway, I want to find artwork. Where do I find it?
Go to LA Bandworks.
LA Bandworks.
With an X.
With an X.
On Facebook.
On Facebook. LA Bandworks with an X on Facebook. Go on there and just look at them because they're incredible.
But I got to tell you, he's very humble about it. So that, and hopefully we'll have him on so he could go into the stories more deeply in it. But every piece has been donated to charity. Most of the pieces that you've done have been for charity first.
Any of the originals that I don't have anymore.
Right, have been donated.
Yeah, so he does the original artwork and then he does prints, and like that we could all enjoy them.
Yes.
But he donates them to different charities. He's done for Cigars for Warriors.
World War II vets.
World War II.
The newest one is for Great Team.
Great Team.
They do light therapy for people with PTSD.
So they do light therapy for vets, people with PTSD.
Absolutely. For any of my brothers and sisters out there that suffer from PTSD, reach out to somebody.
Yes, please.
Please reach out to somebody. Again, a big thanks to Lou for being so generous with the charities. If you come here and you're getting a cigar, you might as well walk around because a lot of Lou's work is hanging up.
Yep.
I believe there was an older gentleman that was here the other day. Diamond was telling me he was quite moved at one of the
Fallen Soldier.
The Fallen Soldier, was it?
Yeah.
Artwork brought him to tears, and he wanted to buy it. He wanted to buy it so bad he actually ripped it off the wall. And no kidding.
Literally.
And he purchased it, which is an absolute beautiful thing. So we're gonna have different events. We'll have the podcast. You can watch us every week. Probably Thursdays, unless something comes up and we can't make it Thursday. But you will go look at YouTube and Spotify. I'll be posting that very shortly this evening, so you guys can watch. write in if you want to see something. We're going to do an episode with Carmen and Lewis are going to actually do some rolling so you
Yep.
can see how they do that. It's an absolute beautiful process. I enjoy watching it. You guys will be able to see that as well. We're going to be doing different events here, hosting different events. Come by. We'll announce any type of events we have.
And also very cool. So his and her cigars. The name actually says it for itself. Is for him and her. So we actually Carmen is starting a ladies cigar club that's going to be meeting here at least once a month. So for you ladies that enjoy to smoke, it is very comfortable for you to come here by yourself with your girlfriend. You come with your significant other. We'll put them in the corner with myself as the ladies take over the middle of the lounge. But once a month, the ladies are going to get together. Carmen is very much into the culture and history of tobacco, like myself. So our mission is to educate and expand your knowledge. And the cool part about it is that a lot of people that have been coming are very well versed in the tobacco field, like yourself, Lou as well. He's a tobacconist, certified tobacconist. Carmen is studying to get her certification, so am I as well. So you get to expand your palate, your tobacco knowledge as well. Learn a couple of things, get more into the culture. So, gentlemen, if your lady smokes, please bring her by the lounge, and we would love to have you both. But that is coming, and Carmen will be on in a little bit, and she'll tell you guys more about it.
I know my wife Dawn is excited. She does smoke as well. Um, she comes in here all the time with me, so I'm pretty sure she'll be excited about coming in here and hanging out with the ladies instead of us being right next to them. So they don't want to talk about us because we know they're talking about us anyway. But it gives them an opportunity. Hey, I don't have to dance during ladies. Do I again?
No, no, no.
All right.
We leave
You
that
sure?
for we leave that for Saturdays.
All right. I hate taking my clothes off. I'm very if you haven't figured it out, I'm very shy.
That's right.
So I won't be taking my clothes off. But
You
please
you do look
make
good
it
in a
on down.
kilt, I gotta say.
I do sport a kilt, man. Some guys can pull off a kilt. My wife says I can pull off a kilt. I'll tell you
She loves
kilts.
you a lot, is what it is.
She loves me too much. I'll tell you some kilt stories down the road that just make you laugh. But how about we have Carmen come over
That's right. We're gonna take
and
a break,
introduce your beautiful wife?
and like that, she could continue talking about the ladies' club and more of the history of his and hers.
Sounds good.
Maybe here.
She's getting situated, putting a lapel mic on because she's professional. Carmen, have a seat.
I sure will.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. An amazing, amazing host. An amazing hand roller of the finest of cigars, like we spoke about before. I love them, and she keeps me laughing, and that always makes me happy when I come in here. What are we doing? What are we doing with your new ladies' night?
So I am starting a ladies' night. I'm looking to start right after the holidays because we women do a lot. So we want to make sure we take care of the whole holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. So right after January 1st, I want to gather a little bit more ladies and just have a ladies' night and be able to do some wine pairing, some beer pairing, and some other activities events so we can just calm down after all the hectic holidays and just another excuse so we don't have to be with the guys so much.
Okay, I appreciate that. Do we? I'm not putting you on the spot.
No,
Do
go
we
for it.
have a name?
Not yet.
Okay.
So I'm open to suggestions.
Okay.
Can bring them in and maybe I'll pick one from the hat and call it a day.
That
Just make everyone welcome with it.
that'd be cool. So they can come in and have a glass of wine,
That's
and
right.
you guys can talk about whatever you want to talk about,
That's correct.
and you'll teach them. Like if they've never smoked before, you can get them started with something
Yes.
light. Okay.
Yes, I'll be able. If you're not a experienced smoker, I can definitely guide you to the right cigar so you can have a better experience. Nothing that you're gonna have an aftertaste or something that you will not do it again. I want every lady to come here, feel comfortable, um, just feel that this is not just the men's place and this is not just for men. To me, a cigar doesn't have a gender. Cigar is a leaf that we all enjoy. So you live it, you enjoy it, and you just relax. And that's the purpose of also be able to have a group of girls in here, because back in the day when I started smoking, um, it was hard for me to go to a cigar lounge. Um, you know, a lot of the guys will be in there talking, being loud, and me being one of the few females that would smoke within the area I used to live made it difficult for me to go into a lounge and sit down and enjoy it. So I used to grab my cigar, go to the park, go to the backyard, and just, smoke there. As the time went by, I said, you know what? No, this is not just for the man. This is also for the woman. This is something that you commit to it to enjoy, and you commit your time for yourself. So it makes you slow down, uh, just have those few moments that on the everyday hectic life is very well needed.
Well, I think it's very well accepted now that women smoke cigars.
Yes.
I started dawn smoking 4 or 5 years ago, and I find it very sexy for a woman to have a great conversation and smoke a cigar with you. It's just um, it's enticing. It's again it's like tattoos. In the day they were not so well accepted with women. My wife is sleeved, and you have some beautiful work. So it's just one of those things. So cigars, some
Yes.
wine, some tattoos, and I
Great
know
company.
great
Great
company.
company.
And remember, like I said before about when Diamond had mentioned the word family, and I said yes, we are familiar. It's true. You come in here and you feel like family, and I think that's one of the reasons that drew Dawn, my wife and I, to come here so much. We had an immediate connection, but it's that family feel. You sit down and you talk about everything, and whatever pisses you off during the day, or whatever not. But I think it's great that the women are going to do this.
Absolutely.
And funny talking about the women in cigars. The one thing that Dawn found out in the very beginning is, like most people's, like, oh, I have that taste in my mouth. I really don't get that with the cigars that they hand roll here at all. You may get a little, but women, I know you love chocolate. Chocolate at the end of a good smoke,
Fantastic.
fantastic, absolutely. Maybe we can do a chocolate pairing one night and wine,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So, it sounds
So
great.
set.
I appreciate you stopping by and sharing the chair with me.
Thank you so
Carmen's
much.
going to share the chair every once in a while. We're going to do one thing one night, Carmen and my wife Dawn versus the Stone and Diamond, and that should be interesting. We'll do some banter. We'll go back and forth with each other. I'm hoping that they don't tell us how much we do wrong, but like I
I'll
said
make sure
before,
I'll say it.
you will.
I sure will.
So one thing I love about Carmen, her filter is in the trash is about mine is. So anything is a go. So maybe they will tell us how they truly feel.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you
Thank you
sitting
so
down
much.
with me.
Absolutely.
Don't go anywhere yet. So thanks for tuning in on our first episode of Diamond and Stone. Diamond is actually taking care of some people, pairing them up with some great cigars. So I am privileged enough to end the show with Carmen.
Thank you.
Stay tuned next week. Next week, we're actually going to be an interesting topic. It's going to be called Don't Call Me Brother. And that is about the term brother and brotherhood, how it's so washed down and it doesn't have the same meaning anymore. It's one of my pet peeves. I spoke to Diamond about it as well. We're going to get that off our chest a little bit. We're going to pair another cigar. I don't know what he'll have prepared for us. But it'll be a surprise, and we'll go over some of those cigars. We'll do a little bit more talking. Please stop by Cocoa Village, his and her cigar. Come in, have a good time, relax, have a couple of laughs, have a great stick, say hello to us, get to know us. You'll love us. I'll see you next episode. Good night. Stay blessed. I got nothing. Don't look. Ain't got the time.
eternity.